Family, I'm going to show you from start to finish for those that want to see or want to know or just want to tag along with me and what I'm doing. And I'm going to make this a complete how-to video from start to finish, how to change rear brakes on a Ram 3500, right? So let's start with jacking the vehicle up. Okay, so I'm going to get the vehicle off the ground on this side. I'm doing one side at a time. With a bottle jack. This is a 20-ton bottle jack that you can get straight from Harbor Freight. So make sure both tires clear the ground, which both tires are now cleared the ground. You want to make sure you got the parking brake on, which the parking brake is already on. Now, I'm going to put a second backup jack under here just in case that jack were to fail, which I've never had one to fail, but you still want one up under here just in case, right? And so we've got that backup jack in place, and now what we're going to do is I am going to, actually let me get the measurements of these bolts. This is the top caliber bolt. This is the bottom caliber bolt. And this is going to be a little easier than if, for those that watched the video, what I did where I had a leaky seal. This area was full of fluid because a wheel seal from the inside of this axle, it was leaking. So I had to pull the whole axle shaft out. Well, we don't have to do all of that. Just replacing. Come here, Mate. Come here, Daniel. Come here. Come here. We're not going to have to do all of that. Just replacing the brakes, which sits right inside of this caliper, right? This is the caliper that every time you press the brake, it squeezes it against the rotor in here. And we're not going to replace these rotors either. I replace the rotors every other time that I replace the brakes. So you don't have to replace rotors every time you replace the brakes, right? And so the reason why I'm placing this, because when I was driving the truck, I started hearing a slight squeaking from the rear, and what that does is there's a little indicator on the edge of the brake pad. Once the brakes wear down to a certain amount, then it starts touching. When you apply the brakes and then the caliper pushes it in, that little indicator begins to touch the rotor, which is supposed to make a squeaking sound, which lets you know that your brakes is getting time to replace your brakes, right? And sometimes brakes can also just be noisy on their own. Like sometimes you can put on new brakes and you'll hear a squeal and sound. Sometimes they just have to get burned in. But yeah, so anyway, let me get the measurements of these. Well, I think this is like a 13, if I'm not mistaken, 13, and I don't know if this is a 15 or 19, the caliber bracket, but let me get the measurements and then I'll tell you what size sockets you need if you're doing this on a truck like this. Okay, so here's a list of everything I'm going to use. Now, once I get started, I might realize that I forgot something, but I tried to get everything. So this right here is just what I use to press the caliper pins in. I think I ordered this for like $20 on online. And that's my grease gun, because once I take the caliper pins out, I'm sure they're going to be dried out. They usually always are, sometimes, not all the time. But once I clean them, I'm going to use that brake parts cleaner to spray all the dirt and everything off, all the brake dirt and all of that, and clean out where the caliper pins go. And I'm going to use my grease gun. It easily squirts grease down inside of those caliper pins, and I've got the green grease in here that I like to use. And then you know, and so that I'll use that when I'm putting everything back together. And then I've got a 13mm ratchet here. That's for the caliper pins. That's what size that bolt is. And then the caliper mounting bracket bolts are 21. So I've got a 21-inch socket that I'll use to take the ones that I can get to with the socket and the power tool off is much easier. But then there's, I think on this side, the top one, the top one is kind of difficult sometimes to get the socket in there because it's a tight space. So you'll need a wrench as well. And then sometimes because it's on there with so much torque, just your regular, now if you're a strong man, you'll be good with this size wrench right here and you'll be able to get it off. But for a woman, we don't have that much power to get a boat off sometimes with that much strength. So we need longer leverage. The longer your wrench is, the more leverage and the more easier it makes it coming off. And so for this wrench, you know what, I think I have a longer wrench as well. I gotta go check and see if I got a longer wrench. I've got all types of sets of wrenches around here, but if I have a longer wrench, I'll get a look for my longer wrench once I stop this. But in the event that I don't, we always nigger rig things around here in the South. And so I got this PVC pipe. I got a piece of metal one around here somewhere too. My elder is the one that taught me this trick. Right, when you have a stuck bolt or something that's tight on a car and your regular wrench won't get it off, and you can't get a socket or power tool to it, if you can get something longer on it. So I've got this this PVC pipe here. If I need to, I'll slide this in here and provide more leverage to break the bolt off whenever I need to loosen it. I've got this here too. What I'm going to use is to take off the hubcaps, right, with this, right? And I've got my power tool I'm going to use to take the lug wrenches and everything off. And then I've got me some napkins. You need some shop napkins, right? Some shop towels. I'm ready to get started, but before I do, I've got to start my morning with some C2O, right? Dr. Yaki calls this H3O, coconut water. Now don't get this kind if you're getting on coconut water and you're trying to limit sugar out of your diet. I just have a lot of these cases left over because I buy in bulk sometimes. But there's a photo I posted in my community section of the coconut water that is originally organic, no added sugars. That's the best one. This one has 3 grams of added sugar, which is not much, but I'm trying to stay away from the sugar. So when I'm done with the case that I have left here, I won't be buying any more of these. The added sugar is not good for us, right? When we get away from added sugar and take in organic sugar, that's a lot better on our bodies. So I'm gonna finish my drink and then I'll get started. And so I'm checking my van, my little extra wrenches. I have wrenches all over the place, and I got sockets all over the place too in the back of my little work van. But I got a 21, and see how much longer this one is than the other one. So I just take this out and take that over there with me. Look at Monte coming outside. She know how to open the door when she want to. See how much longer that one is? See? So you get more torque with that one. And then I still got this if I need it. So let's get to work. Okay. I'm going to pop off this center cap first. Just one side, get it loosened and loosen the rest by hand, because these little things are easily to break. They're easy to break, and they're not cheap either. So get this one off. That's off. I put that to the side. Actually, let me move it to this side because I'm going to roll the tires on that side. Now, those are out of the way. Now, torque wrench. Left is loose, right is tight. There's 8 of these lug nuts on here. And so for the sake of not making this video so long, straight to the point, I'm going to pause it while I loosen all 8 of these. Got all 8 lug nuts loosened. Now, tire can maneuver off, and I just use my feet at the bottom, which helps me pull it from the bottom and the top, and then just scoot the bad boy on out the way. Scoot it on out the way. Scoot on out. Need to scoot it down some more. There we go. And then I'll do the same thing to the next. Maneuver it. You know, a big old man will just take his hands and pull them on off. But we ladies gotta improvise. Alright, and this is the nitty gritty. Let me bring you a little closer. Okay, I don't know if you can see that very well from the what was it? Yeah, I think it's showing. Okay, this is the brake caliper here. And so these are the indicator windows, what you would look in here, and you can see how much brake pad you got left. These brake pads aren't bad on this side, but that's the side that's doing the squeaking. And I'm going to change, whenever you do to one side, you want to do it to both sides. This is the side that I've had to take off, and I had the leaky wheel seal. And so when you have to take off the rotor, if you ever had to replace the rotor, you got to take this whole axle shaft out, which is in the video that I did when I replaced the wheel seal. You got to pull the whole axle shaft out. There's a locking nut in front of here. You're going to lose a lot of oil, differential oil that's in the axle. Then you will be able to maneuver and take this whole hub with the rotor off. It comes off together. And then there are bolts inside the rotor that you have to, there are 8 star bolts that you have to loosen. And then you will be able to separate the rotor from this little hub here, right? We don't have to do all of that today, thank God. And the rotor still looks good, right? So what we're going to do is, and depending on if I'm able to get the caliper pushed back further enough, I may not even have to loosen the caliper bracket, right? But we'll see, because I'm, you know, some people say, oh, you're just a perfectionist, but I just like to do things where I don't mess stuff up. But anyway, let's get this top caliper pin out. Oh, I forgot something. You need bungee cord, because when you take this caliper off, this is the brake line here where the fluid transfers through. Some people just let that hang. I believe that's careless and negligent, because this caliper is very heavy, and so it puts strain on these lines. So anytime I take this caliper off, I always hang it with the bungee cord where the strain is not on the line. And I forgot to bring my bungee cord. I told you I might realize I forgot something, so let me go get my bungee cord. Okay, here's the bungee cord that I'm going to use when I get this caliper off. And then also I wanted to show you guys this right here. This is a C-clamp. This can also be used to push the caliper in once you are ready to install the new brakes. If you don't have one of the other tools I showed, you can get a C-clamp from any footwear, like Harbor Freight or something. So anyway, now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Now sometimes when you're loosening these caliper pin bolts like this, I get confused because left is loose, right is tight. So because I'm on the opposite side, my right would be pulling down to my right would be the left of this. Now sometimes when you're applying pressure to loosen these caliper pin bolts, the pin begins to spin. Like, I don't know if you can see this right here. Like this pin, this is where the pin is. So if you see this look a little slanted, this right here looks a little slanted because I just applied pressure to loosen this bolt, and the whole pin spent with that, right? So now what I'm gonna have to do is, good thing when I went to get the bungee cord, I brought this just in case that would have happened. What you have to do is you have to hold it with the plier, hold the pin in place, and then apply pressure to spin it. Let me see if I can spin this back around, because this, okay, I spun it back around. So what you have to do is apply pressure. It's good if you can get a wrench on it, but I didn't bring out my 22 wrench. A 22 wrench would hold it for me, because my hands are so small. It would hold it better than relying on this thing to hold it. But I'm gonna hold it there and try to apply more pressure to break it loose without spinning it. There we go. So you see, that's all it is. A little pressure holding it in place, and boom. So, and you know what? I don't know why, but it's okay. Let me now go to the bottom one. All right. I'm gonna I'm sure that one's gonna move as well. So I'm gonna apply pressure and then break this free. Oh, I'm not applying enough pressure because the whole thing is moving. Okay, you know what? Let me see if I can get up under here and sit where I won't let it move. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Can't get the leverage I need on. I gotta get back on my knees so I can put my leverage on it. Or you know what? Work smart, not hard, right? I've got the power gun can get to the bottom. It just couldn't get to the top. So I'll take a 13mm socket and put it here on my torque wrench. Left it loose. And I will zip it off. That way I don't have to exert as much of my human energy. Check this out. There we go. See? Work smart, not hard, baby. So I've got this loose bottom bolt. I'll put that. And I like to put the bolts back where they came from. It's just a little thing that my little thing, I like to put each bolt back where it came from. Come here, guys. Don't go anywhere. And then now, that bolt there, put my wrench up there with those. I don't need those anymore until I'm ready to reinstall. Now I'm going to take my time and try to loosen this, or will it come off? Because I ended up, last time I got my pry bar and I applied pressure and I ended up scraping the metal off of one of my caliper pins and I had to file it down, right? So I'm going to try to apply pressure this way just to loosen up the caliper. So that did work just a little bit. And so let me go get me a flathead screwdriver. I told you I will probably need something as I get going, just to try to apply a little more pressure to the caliper and loosen it up some so I can just slide this right on off. Okay, I've got this tool right here and I've got somebody on the line in my ear, so I might end up having to pause it. I'm waiting for him to get back to it. I'm just applying light pressure and the caliper pin is slowly going in. There we go. See how easy that was? Now I got to do the bottom the same way. Light pressure and it's slowly going in. Light pressure, slowly going in. Now I can come on. See? And I didn't scrape it like I scraped last time. That's the damage from the last time, but I flattened it down, right? So my bungee cord, get that up here. Oh shoot, I dropped the phone. You know what? Let me, okay. All right. Get my bungee cord situated up here. Trying to find out. I can't get my bungee cord. Okay, there we go. So I got my bungee cord in up there. And I'm going to come down here and loop it around because this one is pretty big. Loop it around and put it in here. See if that gives it enough. Nope. I'm going to loop it around one more time. I don't want it applying no pressure. to the this cord.
Yes, Keys, I don't know if it was it.
Okay, sorry about that. Had to finish up my phone call. So anyway, I need to make the bungee cord shorter so it doesn't apply any pressure to my line. And then I can hang it. There we go. No pressure is on my line. Just hanging. You know what? Let me bring it up some. Be sure. Bring it up right here. There we go. So now I've got that hanging out of my way. And how did this light come on my other phone? Gosh, I didn't even know how this light come on. I think it must be I shook the phone a certain way. So anyway, got that hanging. Now, I don't think I'm going to take this bracket off. I'm not going to take the bracket off. So the 21 millimeter bolts that I showed you guys, I don't even need them. I'm going to work smart and not hard. Here are the caliper pins right here. As you can see, it's kind of not all the way dried out, but you know what? I am going to get the bracket off. My bad. Because I just realized in order for me to really clean inside this bracket like I want to and add new grease, I need to have it off sitting down with the brake cleaner inside of it. So yeah, I'm going to take the bracket off, right? And you see these pins, they're supposed to move freely. They move a little bit, but it's lacking grease. So I'm just going to take them off and give them some tender loving care before I put the brakes and everything back on. These are the brake pads here. They easily slide off. And the little metal pieces that fit inside the caliper bracket is what this top piece fits in. But the new brakes, they come with some. So you're just going to push these to the side. As you can see, these brakes, they aren't really bad, right? So I'm going to take these and put these to the side. And where's the pin? I think a pin fell. The other pin fell. Alright, so let me pause this while I go put these away, and then I'll come back and get the brackets out, the bolts out the bracket. Okay, now we're back for the fun part, right? So I'm gonna go with the easy thing first. I'm gonna go with the bottom bolt. Why? Because I can get my torque wrench on it, right? So let me get my torque gun and get my torque wrench on the bottom one. There we go. Where's this socket at? So okay, got it set in the right direction. Need to slide that caliper out of the way. Put the torque wrench on it. There we go. That bolt is out. Woo! You talking about something with some torque, baby. Oh, another thing, I forgot to bring a Loctite. I got to go and get Loctite. I always put Loctite, blue Loctite on this, not red, because you have to apply heat to get these bolts out. But blue Loctite, it ensures, since this bolt is in a delicate place, if your caliper, if the bolt that holds your caliper bracket comes out, it's going to mess with your braking system, which can be life-threatening. So you want to put blue Loctite on these when you put them back in. So anyway, I've got the bottom one out. Now the top one. As you can see, ain't no torque wrench fitting up that baby. And I can nigger rig some stuff, but I have actually broken a socket, a ball socket, and the extension by trying to add the extension, you know, with the universal joint up here for this. No, the only thing you're gonna do, get this top one off, is labor. Man, real labor. And so you have to move this top caliper pin out of your way until you can, so you can have straight clearance to this, right? Where's my long wrench? You want to put the long wrench on it. And one thing I don't like about these box wrenches, even though it's one thing I don't like about these box wrenches, and I realize why I probably didn't go for this first, because if you can see, it's 12 point. When you're getting something off this tight and you're using a 12-point wrench, these 12-point wrenches have the tendency to strip. And I can see a strip in the top of my boat, which I've probably used this before. When you apply so much pressure, it is not a solid hold on these. So sometimes it slips around the boat, and this would be a very bad place to get a boat that's stripped, right? So I'm going to go with my shorter wrench where I can get the box side of it, because these hold, you can't, these grooves are not just going to break and it slide to another spot. So I'm going to get that on it. There's no way my woman's strength is going to be enough to break the power of this boat. So I'm going to have to move the phone and get back and add my extension and get back there where it goes, reaches longer behind the truck, and apply pressure to get this boat broken. So I'm going to pause this and move the camera. Okay, after I initially got it broken, what I had to do is go back to this box wrench, right, because it's longer. But after I initially used this wrench and this pipe to get it cracked, it was still very tight. So then I went back to trust my box wrench, because I know some of the torque was off of the boat, and it gripped it and it held it. But initially loosening it, I don't trust loosening it with this 12-point, because if it starts to slip, which I see a little piece in the boat where it probably has slipped in the past, that's scary for this spot right here, right? So now I've got this boat. Oh, I wish it was ratcheting. I wish I had a 21-inch ratcheting socket. I'll look for one in the future. Oh, that was tough. That took a lot. That took a lot out of me. That took a lot out of me, baby, to break this boat loose, right? Where's a good man when you need one? Complaining about us women. They out in these streets complaining about us women, baby. They complain about you. And so you just gotta ignore them and keep doing what you're doing till the right one show up that won't complain about you. Know how to recognize you for who you are and jump in and fulfill their role, so that you can relax more and be in your role, right? We can relax more and be in enjoy our feminine role a little more. But every human being has a masculine and a feminine side to them. And when you are a woman of God, I live to tell you, if you live right, you live an upright life, God will make you strong, baby. God will make you stronger. When people see you doing what you do, they'll know it's your Father in heaven. They'll know. God, that was tight. Woo, woo. Now I can put this caliper pin in until I get this out of the way and situated. Now it gets easier from here. Just inspecting my rotor. Looks good. I'm gonna keep using this rotor. So now I'm about to go sit myself down and service this right here. Okay, with these caliper pins, I like to keep the one I pulled from the top. I like to put it back in the top. I don't like to mix them. That's just my personal thing. I don't think it'll harm anything if you did mix them. I just personally don't like to. That's just me. So anyway, I'm going to take this top one out here, and you see all that grease, how hard it is, how hard it's gotten. I'm just going to take my time and clean these up. This boot can come off. See? So I'm going to take the boot off. See the grease that's left in there? It's a little hard. So I'm just going to take my time and clean these up really good. Now, if I really want to be a perfectionist today, I will go and get my grinder with my metal wire brush on it and I could just zzz, and it'll make this thing look shiny and brand new. But it's not that bad. I'm just going to sit here with my napkins and just take my time wiping it clean. And while I'm wiping it clean, I'm going to spray some brake cleaner in here and let that sit so that I can take my pick and pick in and out of there and clean in and out of there before I add no grease as well. So I'm just going to pause this until I get this done. Well, guys, I lied, not intentionally. I'm going to be a bit of perfectionist. I've been sitting here wiping this thing down, and it's hard up here. It's caked in dirt, so I'm going to get my grinder. I'm not going to put this back on like that. I'm going to clean this all up good. So you're going to see how the grinder shines. I got to get some goggles. Anytime you're using a grinder or something like that, you need goggles. You want to protect your eyes and stuff because it's going to shoot this stuff off of here fast. Let me go get it. This is how it looks before, right? That stuff was popping off of that, stinging me. That's why I was kind of holding it down. But you see the difference? Booda. Booda doo 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 doo. See how clean that is? So now I'm just going to clean the other one up. And then clean the boot out. And then pop it back in. Clean out the brackets. Pop it back in. Now I've cleaned up my pins. Both pins as good as I could have gotten them. I've got both of them cleaned up really good. And so what I'm going to do before I fill the boot up with grease, I'm going to fill these boots up with grease. I'm going to shoot grease in these, but then I'm also going to shoot grease inside of where they go. I'm going to shoot grease inside of here as well, right? Just a little bit in there, and then when I push them in there, they'll push that grease further down in there. I'm just going to put as much as I can get there on that side. And then I'm going to do it on this side. Same thing on that side. I was able to get my pick down in there and clean a lot of old caked grease up out of there. Alright. So I'm going to sit this down. Then I'll fill up the caliper pins and put them back on. See how I just pump grease? I just put the boot over the thing. And I just fill that with some grease. And I'll spin this around in there. Now I've got that full of grease. And I find when I use this versus just taking the packs of grease and squeezing it, I find that when I use it like this, it's less messier. I mean, once you stick the pins back down in there, grease is gonna pop out anyway. But I find that when I do it like this, it's just, I can fill the boots up much fuller. You can feel that the boots are, see how that's expanding right there? I don't know if you can see that. You can see that expanding. So you can feel that the boots are full. See how full that is? And then it starts to pop out. That's how I get my boots full, by just doing it that way. And that's just me. There's no special or perfect way to do it, but that's just what I do. Now I'm going to do the messy part, which is push them down in there, and you're going to see grease pop out. But I'm going to keep going down, up and down, till I get it kind of smoothed out. But this is the messy part of things here, because that grease that I pushed in there is right there, and I want to try to get it in. So I'm just going to keep working it. Just my little thing I do. I'm going to pause this while I play with this for a while. Just keep working it down. Okay, I've taken my time and I've worked it down in there. When you first start pushing it down in there, it stays up like you don't want to go down. That's because you're pushing that grease down in that empty space. You just got to play with it a little bit. And now that I've taken my time and just kept working it around, going around, pulling it back out, now it's sitting in there. And this is how you want your, move my tape before you get grease on you. Move. And this is how you want your pins to be. When you push it down in there, you want them to do it like this. See how that comes back up like that? That's how you want the caliper pins to be, just like that. Because that's what happens when you apply the brakes. It's constantly going like that, pressing down on the caliper, right? So the boot is full of grease, and down in that hole is full of grease, right? So anyway, I'm just going to do the next one, and then we'll get the pressing the calipers in on the other side so that we can start putting this bad boy back together. Okay, so now we are ready to reinstall the caliper mounting bracket, right? I've got these things, the pins all greased up. They're moving freely and loosely. And so I'm gonna put this back on and put the bolts on. Now, remember I told you about thread locker, right? Actually, let me stick this right here. This is blue. You want to make sure it says blue. You get red and you're trying to get this top bolt off, you're going to have pain on your hands. You're going to have to put heat and stuff to get it off. And you don't need to over put too much. All you need to do, just so once you tighten the bolt down, this thread locker just seals up in place so the bolt won't back out with all the braking and the vibration and stuff. And so you just could put a straight line, just a straight line. It don't even have to be that much, just like that, right? And as you tighten the bolt, it'll get in all the threads as you spin the bolt in, right? And so I've got that in for the first top bolt. I'm just gonna spin it, start it by hand and get it in there. And you know what? I forgot that I tightened this bolt with the pin out, but I'll go that way with my wrench, right? The bottom I don't have to worry about because I zipped it off with a torque wrench, and I can zip it back on with a torque wrench. That torque wrench has a lot of pressure on it. And so I've got that on the top. Now I'm going to do the bottom. And this is all how you want to do it, just like that. Just one straight line. Don't need to be much. Just a straight line. That's it, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to pause this while I finish getting these bolts tightened up. Okay, got the bracket back on in place. Now the caliper pins. First of all, we're going to use the old brakes. And what we're going to do is we're going to sit the old brakes on there and use the little tool I have to press the brakes, to press the caliper bits to flatten them down. But what we're going to do is take the new brakes, and this is some grease to go on the back of the plates, on the back of the new brakes, so that it lessens any squeaking effect as it's pressing down on them. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the new brakes and compare them with the old brakes, right? So we've got one right here. Oh, get this little bracket out of the way. It's the same size. It looks good, right? Put it up against each other. Alright. They're equal. Right? And so we're going to make sure we got one for each side. One for each side, right? And so now what we're going to do is, you don't want to use the new brake to press the pin down. You Want to keep the new brakes to the side, and you're going to use the old brakes, right? And then the side of the kit for the new brakes, you've got new little pins that go. Let me show you. Got new pins. Got 8, 4 for this side, 4 for that side, and these are the pins that clip right in here into these spaces right here. They just clip right down there, and you can clip the other one in as well. You can put these in place before you put the brakes down, and you clip this one in, and you clip that one in. There we go. And then you can take your brakes and make sure that they fit right there. Right? See? Those fit. So we can just leave that right there. Right? You don't even have to pull that back out. And we can take the other one, slide it in. There you go. It fits right in there, right? So, and this is what I was telling you guys. Sometimes when you get a metal noise, once your brake starts to wear down, and I said there's a pin, obviously you're not gonna let it get this low, right? Like I don't know if that side is that low. I know this side wasn't definitely that low, but that side is a lot lower than this side. But you see, this is what I was talking about, that little indicator that's there. Once your brake gets really low, you can hear a squealing sound, and that's right just before it touches the back portion of the plate that the brake of the where your pad is, right? Just before it gets worn all the way down to this to this indentation here, this metal piece. When you apply your brakes, it'll start sliding against the rotor, which will cause a squealing sound. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So anyway, let's put these brakes together, and we're going to put it in there like that. Right? We're going to get our little tool to twist by hand. This thing sometimes causes my finger to, when I start twisting, it takes my hand strength sometimes. But how this plate works is it gets, wait a minute, since it's already down, I probably just need to use one. And then all this does is sit there, and it right there. See that? And now I can just squeeze it, and it's lowering this side more than, oh, I'm knocking my brake pad back out. Get off the brake pad. See, it's lowering one side. So what I'll do is I'll loosen up some and then slide this over on the other side a bit right there, and then work on this side as well simultaneously. See the gap between this side and that side? So you just go back and forth. Until you get them lowered flat. You want them flat because these are brand new brakes, so it's going to be tight going on with these brakes in place like that. Alright, so you want them as flat as possible. I'll come off and go to the other side some. Come over here. Start flattening in this side some more. like that's gonna go no more. So let's see. Try this side some more, and then we'll see if that's enough clearance to get them on. All right. Okay, look like I don't have enough. It won't go no more. Right? My strength can't turn it no more. So let's see if that gives us enough clearance, right? I'm gonna move this out of the way. And, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to, first let me see if this is enough. Yeah, that's enough. I can get it on. I believe I can get it on from there. So now we want to take the lube where the metal meets the metal, or the on the caliper. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take some of this lube here, and we're just gonna put it around these caliper pins here, where it will meet the metal of the back of the brake. Just gonna put some around there, each pin, and we're also gonna put some over here on this side, where the other side of the brake will be pressed over here, and that will cut down on any squeaking noises and stuff, right? So that's that. So now let's get this bad boy fitting on there. Oh, this one popped out. This one keeps popping out on this side. There we go. Now I can get this bungee cord outside of this caliper and get the bolt. Right? I gotta push this caliper pin back some. Get this bottom pin pushed back some. There we go. I don't see the, oh, there we go. All right. So now I'll start the top bolt. I don't put any Loctite on these caliper pin bolts. They usually don't have that much torque in them, and I've never had one spin out on me. I just tighten it down real good. They got the top bolt in. Now I'm gonna go with the bottom bolt. Alright. And where's my plier? Just gonna remember I told you this pin would spin, right? So I'm gonna apply pressure as I'm tightening it back up so that it doesn't spin, but it holds in place so that I can tighten it really well. Oh, wait a minute, I went the wrong way. Spin on me. There's a good grip on it. Okay, I got that bottom one in. And now the top. Ugh. Oh, shucks. Alright. I got that bad boy in there. Alright. And that, my friend, my brother and my sister, is how you replace the brakes on a Ram 3500 from beginning to the end. And the exact same thing I've done on this side. All I's going to do is go to the other side and do the same thing. I hope that helps somebody. And if you're not changing brakes on a Ram 3500, then I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, right? Y'all have a blessed day. I love you. I also wanted to say, for those who will be doing it, or maybe some that are doing it, DIYing it for the first time, once you finish with everything, both sides, and you get back in your truck, or even if you're doing this on your car, if you do this on a truck, you can do it on a car. It's much easier. Parts are less heavier as well. But when you get back in the car, you want to make sure you keep your emergency brake on. And while the vehicle is in park, once you switch it on, get it running, you want to make sure you apply the brake all the way down. Let it come back up. Pry it all the way down. It's going to go straight down. You're going to let it come back up about 2 or 3 times. Because what's happening is it's readjusting the calipers in the rear. So if you forget, you want to do it right after you finish doing the work. Because if you forget and you get in a car, truck, and you get ready to go someplace, and you're like, oh shoot, I don't got no brakes. It's just that they're not properly calibrated, and so you just have to go down, get off until you feel that firm pressure, and then now your brakes are ready to go again for however long they last, right? Have a blessed day.